Tonight, Roger will take us through a short story from an episode in his life that for him was both exhilarating at the time, yet providing profound lessons that impacted much of what he did afterwards. And members know this, but our guests perhaps don't. You have evaluation forms in front of you, so if you can make notes to give feedback to Roger, that would be very helpful. Please welcome Roger Sutherland. Strongly believe in your idea. Strongly believe in your idea, Roger Sutherland.
As a Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially our honored guests, tonight I'm going to share with you how an idea I had as a young man sparked a dream that mushroomed into a beautiful reality. One evening, I went to a very large and special club for a special event. And with my broken fingers, two broken fingers, in a split, I parked my car in the distance and waded my way through many of the parked cars headed to the club. And the music was simply alluring. The full-bodied music just captivated me. And the closer I got to the hall, the more impressed I was. So I went upstairs, elbowed my way through the large waiting crowd, and entered the hall. You see, in the Caribbean, people love to dance to live music. It's part of the culture. And the crowd was massive. And eventually, I found my way to the other end of the hall, to the stage. Massive people dancing, many of them in romantic embraces on the floor. So I got there, and I heard this song which I could hardly believe. Because you see, if I didn't have two broken fingers, I would have been the one drumming. But I had to be replaced while my injuries healed. And it was a very unusual experience for me. Unusual? Why? Because that was the first time ever that I had heard my band, called the Quavers, from the outside as a fan, rather than from the inside as a player. It was surreal. Imagine this. You at home listening to music with the speakers turned away from you, and them turned and facing you. There's a significant difference. Tremendous. Well, I tell you, I was beaming with pride that night. I couldn't believe that those people produced that music and I was part of it. Well, it happened 2 years earlier, when I played tennis, and my friend and I went to the bar to have a drink, a refreshing beer, and he got on the piano as usual, and his long fingers just glided along those ivory keys, and I tapped the rhythm on a nearby chair. And that sparked the idea. I said, Billy, why don't we start a band? Well, once the idea germinated, friends came by and aspiring musicians came by, and we really got serious. And our first bassist went to his mom, who was actually my first music teacher when I was a little kid, and she endorsed a loan for us. And we got instruments ordered from the United States, and we were so excited we got these instruments. And we practiced every day for hours after work. It was very challenging and very hard, but with our persistence and dedication, soon cohesive sounds began to emerge. It was unbelievable. And to our utter astonishment, we arrived to practice one day, and there was a crowd of people waiting. And the next day, the same thing, waiting for us. Then we realized that we may be onto something special. Soon enough, they trampled the garden, and all the roses were gone, and we were booted out. We had to find an alternative venue. We comprised 9 players. We had keyboards, lead guitar, rhythm, and we had the drums that I played. We had congas, timbalitas, the Spanish ones, bongos, guarachas, and we took popular music and rearranged it into the dance genre, into different beats like ska, which is a predecessor to reggae, and Latin. We played songs like Perfidia, if you know that one, it's beautiful. And it was just incredible. And it was so exhilarating for me, sitting on my drums. And as I went from the snare to the tom-toms and back to the snare and tapped the rhythm on the cymbal, it was an unbelievable and indescribable feeling. We were young and naive then, and many times we showed up at a venue and there was recording instruments recording our music without our permission or knowledge. Well, sadly, we never entered the recording studio. We did do 2 short tours. We backed a top British singer, and we played alongside many Caribbean bands, like the Merrymen of Barbados and others. It was just fantastic. But we had to disband because my friend and leader went to study neuroendocrinology at McMaster's in Ontario. And that was it. But we heard that our music was being played in London, Toronto, and New York for private parties. We don't have anything. What a shame. But I've learned something, because finally I learned that if you have an idea which you act on, and you act on it with determination, dedication, and persistence, never losing sight of the ultimate goal, you can achieve success. I quote the famous modern actor Denzel Washington, who said, "A dream without a goal is just a dream that will ultimately fuel disappointment." So I ask you, do you have a dream that you've forgotten or ignored and done nothing about? Think about it. What's circulating in the back of your mind now that you haven't had the courage to implement? I know you do. I know you do. But I suggest to you that if you take that idea and act on it and put into it a solid plan and work at it with determination, perseverance, and courage, you never know how you might make humanity better off, how you may bring joy to others and to yourself. You will never know unless you try, because if you don't, it will remain just a dream and will disappear into oblivion in the far recesses of your mind. So I encourage you, act on it. Act on it. You may be astonished at the results. I was. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Roger.